Before we get into it, I got to say, welcome back to my channel. I don't know how you got here, but I'm so glad you're here. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe. Hit that notification bell beside subscribe. Make sure it's set to all, so you'll be notified whenever. In a courtroom filled with tension and anticipation, Kody Brown, the controversial patriarch of the Brown family, faced the consequences of a series of actions that had irrevocably shaken his plural family. A bitter legal dispute had emerged, centered around the rightful ownership of properties owned by his former wives, Janelle and Meri. Kody's actions had led to a prolonged legal battle, resulting in a final day of reckoning in the form of a court order. This was not just any day in the legal drama, but a pivotal moment in a saga fraught with emotions, betrayal, and regrets. Kody, known for his unflinching persona, had spent years navigating the complexities of his plural marriages. Yet here he was, in a courtroom, confronted by a judge who would decide the fate of two properties and determine whether Kody would take the necessary steps to right his wrongs. The events that had led to this moment were a mixture of personal failings, miscommunication, and a series of poor decisions. Kody's estranged relationships with his wives, compounded by his increasingly erratic behavior, had culminated in the confiscation of the deeds to the properties belonging to Janelle and Meri. In a courtroom that mirrored the tension and animosity between the individuals involved, Kody's apology would be tested against the reality of his actions. And the legal system would ultimately weigh in, ensuring that justice was done, regardless of the personal histories that influenced the dispute. The backstory: the fallout of Kody's marital decisions. Kody's complex family structure, consisting of multiple wives, children, and intricate relationships, had always attracted public scrutiny. On one hand, Kody had been a symbol of alternative family dynamics, with a following that admired his unapologetic approach to polygamy. On the other hand, his personal life had been riddled with tension, infidelity rumors, and power struggles. It was no secret that Kody's relationships with his wives, especially Janelle and Meri, had become strained over time. The unraveling of these relationships took a more profound turn when Kody made a series of decisions that left Janelle and Meri feeling abandoned and betrayed. Although they had each entered into polygamous marriages with Kody with a certain degree of understanding, the shifting priorities, lack of communication, and Kody's increasing focus on his newest wives had created an environment of neglect. In the months leading up to the legal battle, tensions had escalated. Janelle, a staunch believer in Kody's vision for their family, had always been more patient and understanding of his actions. However, as the years went by, she became more disillusioned with Kody's treatment of her and her children. Similarly, Meri, who had endured her own set of trials within the marriage, including the infamous catfishing scandal, had reached her limit. Both women had started questioning their place within the family, especially as Kody's attention seemed to gravitate elsewhere. The catalyst for the legal battle came when Kody, during a heated argument, claimed full ownership of several properties that had been intended for Janelle and Meri. These properties were not just real estate. They were symbolic of their independence and autonomy within the family structure. The deeds to these properties were, without a doubt, a source of security for both Janelle and Meri. When Kody seized them, the action was seen as a final betrayal, a symbol of his disregard for their individual identities. The courtroom: a battle for justice and accountability. When Janelle and Meri decided to take legal action, the proceedings were set in motion. The courtroom became the stage where emotions ran high and where the complex dynamics of polygamy, familial bonds, and individual rights collided. On the day of the hearing, Kody appeared with his legal representation, dressed in a suit that contrasted sharply with the informal, familial image he had built over the years. Janelle and Meri, both emotionally charged and physically drained from the battle, sat in their respective seats, their faces a mixture of resolve and pain. The tension in the air was palpable, and the judge, a no-nonsense figure in this high-stakes drama, was straightforward. Kody had taken the deeds to properties that were legally owned by Janelle and Meri. The question was whether Kody's actions were justified and whether he had a legal right to withhold the deeds. As the case unfolded, the arguments from both sides painted a vivid picture of the betrayal that had taken place. Kody's lawyer argued that the deeds were simply part of a broader financial strategy, one that had been made in the interest of preserving the family's assets and ensuring stability for all involved. However, this argument was quickly dismantled by Janelle's legal team, which pointed out that Kody's actions were personal and not rooted in any shared family vision. The evidence, which included emails, text messages, and witness testimony, painted a different picture, one where Kody's actions were driven by a desire to control and manipulate, rather than to protect his wife's interests. The courtroom drama took a pivotal turn when Kody took the stand. Known for his calm demeanor and calculated responses, Kody's testimony was met with skepticism by those present. When asked about his decision to take the deeds, Kody seemed to stumble. His words were vague and lacked the conviction needed to convince the court of his justification. The public nature of the trial seemed to expose Kody's vulnerabilities, something he had managed to keep hidden for years. Kody's apology, a turning point in the trial. In the midst of the courtroom chaos, Kody's demeanor shifted. He had arrived at the courthouse expecting to fight the legal battle with his usual defiance, but something in the moment caused him to reevaluate his stance. Perhaps it was the realization that the trust he had worked so hard to maintain within his family had been shattered beyond repair. Perhaps it was the clear evidence of how deeply his actions had wounded those who had once stood by him. With a deep sigh, Kody turned toward the judge and, for the first time, admitted his wrongdoing. His voice, uncharacteristically shaky, echoed through the courtroom as he apologized to Janelle and Meri. "I made a mistake," Kody said, his eyes downcast. "I took something that wasn't mine, and I hurt both of you in the process. I was wrong, and I'm sorry for what I did." The apology, though sincere, was met with mixed reactions. Janelle, her face inscrutable, nodded slightly but made no further comment. Meri, who had spent years in the shadow of betrayal and disappointment, simply looked at Kody without speaking. The judge, unmoved by the emotional outpouring, turned to the legal arguments at hand. The court's decision, a restoration of justice. After hearing all sides, the judge made her decision. Kody was ordered to return the property deeds to Janelle and Meri. The court ruled that his actions had been unlawful and that the properties were rightfully theirs. Additionally, the judge mandated that Kody provide compensation for any financial losses incurred by Janelle and Meri as a result of the property dispute. The ruling was a bittersweet victory for both women. While they had secured the return of their properties, the emotional cost of the dispute was high. The dissolution of their relationships with Kody seemed inevitable, as the court proceedings had only underscored the fractured state of their family. As the gavel came down, signaling the conclusion of the case, Kody's apology was not enough to erase the years of pain and mistrust. The deed's return was an important victory, but it did little to repair the deeper wounds inflicted by Kody's actions. The aftermath, moving forward. In the weeks following the court's decision, Kody found himself facing the consequences of his actions in a more personal way. His relationship with Janelle and Meri had already been damaged beyond repair, but the public nature of the trial exposed him to new levels of scrutiny. His apology, while heartfelt, did little to mend the deep rifts between him and the women who had once trusted him. For Janelle and Meri, The legal victory was a step toward reclaiming their autonomy and their dignity. The return of their property deeds was a symbolic act of restitution, but it was clear that the emotional scars left by Kody's behavior would take much longer to heal. As for Kody, the court's order was a sobering reminder that no one, not even a patriarch in a plural family, is above the law. The court's ruling served as a reminder of the importance of accountability and the need to respect the rights of others, no matter the complexities of family dynamics. While the court proceedings may have concluded, the emotional journey for everyone involved was far from over. The question remained, could Kody truly change? Could Janelle and Meri ever forgive him for the betrayal they had endured? Only time would tell. Hot topic you'll want to discuss over here on my channel, please, by all means. Let me know in the comments below, or you can email me. My email is always open to suggestions, hot topic discussions. All the things my email is linked in the description below every video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and hit that notification bell beside subscribe. Make sure it's set to all so you'll be notified whenever I upload. I love you for watching. I'll see you in my next video or in the comments below. All sister wives in EOU's update. Meri Brown, Janelle Brown, Robyn Brown, my Kelty Padron, Kody Brown. Related. For you, recently uploaded.